Let's have another topic of this chapter, that is occurrence of metals. Here we know that we are having lots of metals present in our surrounding. Few of the metal they are present in their native form. It means they are present in free form, but there are many metals which are present in the combined form. Okay, the metal which are highly reactive in nature, they are always present in the combined form. But few metal which are less reactive, we have seen reactivity series. With the help of these reactivity series, you people will able to know which are reactive and which are less reactive. Although all metals are reactive in nature, but there is difference in the reactivity. Okay, so the metal which are highly reactive in nature, they are always present in their compound form, and these compound they are of type either they are present in their oxide form, they are present in their sulfate form, sulfide form, carbonate form. Means these are the compound in which they can exist in this form. Okay, so all these metals are present in the earth crust, but beside these earth crust they are also present in the form of, like if we are talking about magnesium, magnesium is present in chlorophyll, iron is present as a constituent of hemoglobin, zinc is also present in the eyes of some animals. Sea water, it also has a source of lots of uh, metals like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. It means number of metals are present in different places, but most common place where the metals are found is earth crust. So inside the earth crust many metals are present, but these metals are present in the form of minerals. Okay, so here one question is asked, that how do metal exist? It means they exist in the form of minerals and ores. So first you people have to know what do you mean by minerals and ores. So because we know that if we are taking the temperature, so at the surface the means temperature below the surface of the earth is very high, and because of these temperature all the elements which are less reactive also they combine with the metals like oxygen and whatever are the things present there, so they combine with them and formation of compound takes place. Therefore generally do not these type of metal do not exist in the free state, okay, or in the native state. So they are mostly present in the combined state, and mostly metal exist either as oxides, carbonates, sulfate, sulfide, etc. So the combined state of minerals are known as, or the combined state of metal are known as minerals. Okay, so a particular metal can have more than one minerals. If we are talking about the mineral, all the metal can be extracted from many of the mineral. Means three or four type of minerals are there, out of which we can extract same metal. Like here we can take example aluminium. Aluminium is taken as the most abundant metal in the earth crust. So for aluminum we are having number of metals. Aluminum can be present in bauxite also, it may be found in diaspo, it may be present in the cryolite. So many of the minerals are present in which aluminums are present, but we cannot extract aluminum from all the mineral. Okay, because of the inconvenience of extracting these metals from all the minerals. So the mineral from which we are extracting the metal conveniently or profitably, means here it is more convenient, means more amount of sufficient amount of metal we will be getting from this type of metal with a less cost. So that is called as ore, isn't it? Do you understand what is ore? Ore is what, or means three or four type of mineral, and more than four type of mineral we are having same metal present on that, but we are not able to extract the metal from all the mineral. So whatever the mineral we are chosen for extracting any of the metal is called to be as ore. Rest of the mineral is not called as ore of any substance. Like we are using bauxite for the extraction of aluminium, that's why bauxite is an ore of aluminium. Rest all the thing that is cryolite or beryl or diaspore, these are taken as mineral only, they are not ore, because from that we are not extracting aluminium. Okay, so ore, all the ore is called to be as mineral, but all mineral is not called to be as ore, because from all mineral we cannot extract metal. So from those mineral from which we can extract metal is called to be as an ore. Okay, so on the basis of the reactivity, like gold and platinum, they are present at the bottom of the series. and that's why they are taken as the least reactive. That's why they are present in the free form. Free form means not like it do not have any impurity, means they do not make bond with anyone because they are least reactive in nature. So they do not combine with oxygen, they do not combine with carbon. Okay, only some impurities are there over the surface of this gold and platinum. Okay, so these are mostly present in their native form. Now here we have extraction of metal. How do metal can be extracted? See, here ore of all the metal is given. You people have to memorize these all. Ore means 1 marks question will be asked what is the ore of aluminium. Yeah, what is the ore of calcium. Yeah, bauxite. Which element is extracted from bauxite? Yeah, which aluminium can be extracted? Which element can be extracted from hematite? So that's why you have to know the name of the metal and the ore from which these metals are extracted. Okay. Now extraction of metal or metallurgy. So we know that metal have lots of uses in our daily life. That's why we have to extract these metal and make this metal pure. So what are the method for the purification of metal? So all the method from which we can be extracted metal from their minerals or from their ore is called to be as metallurgy. Metallurgy, it is a process from which we can extract or isolate metal from their ores. Okay, whatever the method we are having, all the method involved for the extraction, these all method are called to be as metallurgy. It is not only one method, it involves 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Whatever the steps we are taking for the extraction of metal from their ore is called to be as metallurgy. Okay, so here on the basis of the reactivity, all the metals have different reactivity, means whatever the metals is present in the earth crust, they do not have the same reactivity, they have different reactivity. So on the basis of their reactivity, they are categorizing into 3 categories, means extraction of highly reactive metal, extraction of moderate reactive metal, and extraction of least reactive metal. They all are extracting by the different method. So before extracting the metal from their ore, we have to do one method that is called to be as concentration or enrichment of ore. Here in the concentration or enrichment of ore, in this method most we have to, means whenever we are mining these mineral from the earth crust, they are in the form of big lumps. Okay, so in the first process we have to broke these into small pieces with the help of crusher. Okay, and after making it small, then we have to make it in the powdery form. So when we are making it in the powdery form with the help of some meal, ball meal or stamp meal, this process is called to be as pulverization of ore. Pulverization, it is a method in which we are converting the stone or big stones or big lumps of stone into the smaller pieces is called to be a, or sorry, into the powdery form is called to be as pulverization. Once again I am repeating, pulverization, it is a method in which the pieces of ore is get converted into the powder form with the help of meal is called to be as pulverization. Pulverization, it definition of pulverization will also be asked for 1 mark. Okay, so you people have to know what is pulverization. So here after doing the pulverization, the ores are generally associated with earthy and silicon impurities which have to be removed before the isolation of metal is actually done. We know after that, after making it in the powder form, here still it has many of the impurity present, many of the earthy impurities present, because it is taken out from the earth crust. That's why it has sand or impurities are present. So these type of impurities are called to be as gangue. These impurities do not make a bond with the compound. It is only present as a dust particles, or like if people are keeping anything for a long time inside the earth crust, and when we are taking out from there, it has some impurities on that, some type of dust or some type of thing will stick on that. So these are called to be as gangue, whatever the impurities, because these impurities do not make a bond with the compound. So these impurity we can simply remove by the physical or mechanical method. Okay, so these impurities are called to be as gangue or matrix. So here we have many methods by which we can extract the impurity. First method is hand picking method. Hand picking, it is the very simple method by which simply by picking these impurities with our hand, we can separate it out, because here the size of the particle and size of the impurities are identical. We can easily identify which one is present as an impurity or which is the important part. So with the help of the size is bigger, size and shape of the particle is bigger, then by simply hand picking we can separate the impurities. Okay, next method, that is called as gravity separation. Gravity separation, this method is done for only those type of substance in which the impurity is lighter than that of the main substance. Okay, if the impurity is lighter, then if we are dissolving it into the, if we are keeping it into the solution for, or if we are passing it with by a stream of running water, then if impurity is lighter than impurity, it simply flush out and move out with by the running with the running water. And then because of the heavier weight of the mineral, we can separate it out. So this method is applied in case of oxides of iron, because iron is heavy, tin is also heavy, and few of the metal like gold, silver, they are also heavy. Okay, so whatever the impurities present on that, they are lighter than these metal, so this can be extracted by the gravity separation. Okay, next method is what? Next method is froth flotation method. Froth flotation method, it is very important method. Here you have only the introduction of this, because these froth flotation you will do in class 12th. So in the froth flotation method, mostly two type of compounds are mixed with one another. Okay, so if two compounds are there and they are having same type of impurity, like we have lead sulfide and zinc sulfide, both are present. Both lead also we have to remove, zinc also we have to remove, but both are present in their sulfide form. So at that time, if we will be trying to remove out the impurity, then these both metal will mix with one another. So that's why, to make it separate, or to depress one of the metal or impurity of one of the metal, we are making, or we are dissolving it into some wetted substance like oil or water. Okay, so this process is called as froth flotation method. This is based on the difference in the wetting qualities of gangue. Okay, so on the basis of this, we can separate the impurity. Next we have magnetic separation. For the magnetic separation, this method is done for those type of impurities or the ore which are having attraction, or which is showing the magnetic nature. If the ore is having magnetic nature, or either the impurities having magnetic nature, out of these two, only one should show the magnetic nature. If both are showing the magnetic nature, then both are attracted towards the magnet, isn't it? So one should show magnetic nature and another do not. So by passing it through this meal, look at this one, magnetic separation, because here we are having magnet. So on passing this one through this, the one which is having attraction towards the magnet, they just go towards the magnet and just come out from the into the another side. Okay, so by this method also we can separate impurity and ore, that is by magnetic separation. So these are very simple method for increasing the concentration of ore by physical method, that is froth flotation, hand picking, gravity separation and magnetic separation. Now after that, we will be having the most important part, that is the extraction of metal based on the activity series. Here we are categorizing the metal on the basis of their activity, and on the basis of their reactivity we are going to separate the metal from their compound. First we will be taking the metal which are less reactive in nature, like gold, platinum, silver, mercury and copper. They are less reactive in nature. Out of these, copper and mercury, they are little bit reactive as compared to the gold, silver and platinum. They are sometimes they are also present in the combined state. Like mercury, the ore of mercury is cinnabar. Okay, and copper is present as copper glance. The ore of copper is copper glance. So it is, both are present in the form of compound, that is in this sulfide form. Okay, but if we are talking about gold, silver and platinum, they are always present in the free state. They never make a bond with anyone. Okay, so here it can be simply separated, but if we will be talking about mercury and copper, it has to be separate from its ore by removing the sulfur. So here it can be removed by the simple method, that is called as by passing it, or by converted these metallic into the oxide form. Okay, by heating it in presence of air or oxygen. So see, here we have cinnabar, that is HgS. Hg stands for mercury and S for sulfur. So here the name of this one is mercuric sulfide. Whenever we are heating this mercuric sulfide with oxygen. Then on heating this oxygen, they get combined with the sulfur, and then formation of SO2 takes place. Okay, sulfur dioxide is going to take place, and this mercuric sulfide get converted into mercuric oxide, and again on heating, because oxygen can be escape out very easily on increasing the temperature. So on converting it into their oxide form, again on heating, this oxygen get converted into the gaseous form, and they simply move out, and they are leaving behind the metal, pure form of metal, that is mercury. Here we have copper galena, that is cuprous sulfide. Here once again we are heating this copper sulfide with oxygen, then it get converted into its oxide form, that is cuprous oxide, by the removal of SO2. Again SO2, it is in the form of gas, so it will escape out easily. And then this cuprous oxide again on heating with cuprous sulfide. Okay, so this cuprous oxide and cuprous sulfate, this S and O is going to make a bond, and then formation of SO2 takes place. Again it will be get converted into the it will be in the form of gas, so it will be escape out, leaving behind copper in the form of solid. So by this method, this is called as the reduction method. Reduction means what? Here we are adding, or with the help of auto reduction method. Okay, so with the help of this one, we will be getting the pure form of copper. This method we will be applying only for the least reactive metal, because in case of least reactive metal, the bond is very weak. Whatever the bond is formed between the mercury and sulfur is very weak. So on heating a little, or on increasing a little of temperature, it simply break the bond, and it can be separated from its compound. But this method we cannot done for any other substance, because any other metal, because they are more reactive, and the bond between these are also more strong as compared to this one. Okay, so these are only for the metal which are less reactive. Now we will be having extraction of metal present in the middle in the reactivity series. In the middle we are having zinc, we are having iron, chromium, nickel, cobalt. These are present in the middle, and they are mostly present in their sulfide form or carbonate form. These are the two form in which mostly they are present. Okay, so first process is that we have to convert these into their oxide form in the oxide by reacting it with oxygen, and then we have to remove out oxygen. So it involves two processes. So here we have some steps by which we can be separate out the impurity which is present in the metal. First method is called to be as calcination. So calcination is defined as the process of heating the ore below its melting point in the absence of air. Always take care, students, calcination is a method in which we are heating the substance in absence of air. Absence of air, always keep in mind. So here we are taking, as I tell you, mostly the substance mostly the element which are present in the middle of the series, they are either present in their sulfide form or in the carbonate form. So calcination is done for those type of metal which are present in their carbonate form. Okay, so here we will be heating this one in absence of air. See, see, these are the some example like zinc carbonate. Here we will be heating this zinc carbonate in absence of air, only heating. Here we will not supply oxygen. In absence of air, when we are heating this one, then it get converted into zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. Because this carbon dioxide, it is in the form of gas, it can be escape out very easily. And then this zinc oxide, by heating once again, oxygen will be removed, and then zinc can be taken out. Okay, here we have lead carbonate. Again we are heating lead carbonate, so then that's lead get converted into lead oxide and then carbon dioxide. We have dolomite, in which dolomite is having calcium carbonate plus magnesium carbonate, means both are present with the in the same compound, calcium carbonate dot magnesium carbonate. So here on heating this one in absence of oxygen, that is called as calcination, it will give rise to calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, and then carbon dioxide. So again here first method is what? First method, that is has to convert into their oxide form, that we have done by the process of calcination. Okay, next we have roasting. Roasting, it is a method in which we have to heat the sulfide type of ore. Two type of ore we are talking for the middle for the element which are present in the middle of the activity series, that is either in the form of carbon or in the form of sulfide. So for carbonate we have to do the calcination. For sulfide type of ore, we have to do roasting. See here, zinc sulfide, it is zinc is present with their sulfide. Okay, so here we have to heat the substance in presence of oxygen. These are the two difference. Always the difference is also asked, what is the difference between calcination and roasting. So always take care, calcination is done for the carbonated type of ore, and yes, roasting is done for the sulfide type of ore. Calcination is done in absence of air, roasting is done in presence of air. Okay, so here we have sulfide, then in presence of oxygen it get again, it also get converted into their oxide form, and it release SO2, that is sulfur dioxide. Again we will be having lead sulfide. Lead sulfide is to be heated with oxygen. In presence of oxygen, then lead get converted into lead oxide by the release of SO2. Okay, here see difference is also given. What is difference between calcination and roasting? So calcination is carried in absence of oxygen, whereas roasting is done in presence of oxygen. As a result of calcination, the carbonated ore is converted into oxide form, but as a result of roasting, the sulfide ores get converted into their oxide form. Okay. Now conversion of oxide form to the metallic form. Whatever the, see here in this method, we just converted these into their oxide form, isn't it? Here by the removal of sulfur, sulfur get converted into sulfur dioxide, but here whatever the metal we have to extract, here we just convert it to into the oxide form. So what are the next method after the conversion of this into the oxide form? So we have to do the reduction. Reduction is what? Reduction is the removal of oxygen. Okay, so reduction can be done by some of the different elements. So if we will be using carbon for the reduction of this type of compound, this method is called to be a smelting. Okay, so the roasted ore in the form of its oxide is mixed with the carbon, that is charcoal, and heated to a temperature above its melting point in a furnace. Then oxide of the metal is reduced to molten metal. Look at this one, zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is formed after the roasting. Okay, so this zinc oxide, it pass with a charcoal, and then this carbon is going to remove oxygen from zinc. That's why this process is called to be as reduction process, and give to zinc, and release of carbon monoxide gas. Again this tin oxide, and this will get combined with carbon, then it will give tin. And again lead oxide, it will get combined with carbon, then it give lead by the removal of carbon monoxide. Okay, now there are many more elements we people are using. Highly electropositive metals we are using for the reduction, like aluminium. Also we are using, in the above reaction we used carbon for the reduction, but we can also use highly electropositive metal like aluminium and magnesium. So if the reduction is done with the help of aluminium and magnesium, then this process is called to be a thermite process. Okay, like chromium oxide, manganese oxide dioxide, or ferric oxide. So these are the compound for which we are using aluminium for the reduction. So this process is called to be a thermite process. The reduction by aluminium is carried by heating the metallic oxide with aluminium powder. This is called thermite process. Okay, always take care whenever we are using aluminium for the reduction, this process is thermite process. And if we are using carbon for the reduction, it is called to be as smelting. So manganese dioxide, it get combined with aluminium. Again aluminium is going to remove oxygen, and then formation of aluminium oxide takes place and give manganese as a pure metal. And then we have chromium oxide. This chromium oxide combined with oxygen, then it will give rise to chromium. Again ferric oxide combined with aluminium, then it will give iron with aluminium oxide. Okay. So for today we have this much only, students. These are some more thing is given in your refresher, but there is no need to go through this much of thing. If you need extra knowledge, then you can simply read it out to gain more knowledge. But whatever the thing is important for your according to the syllabus of your class 10th, that I explained. Okay. In the next class we will be having the extraction of highly reactive metal and few left part of this chapter. Okay, so for today we have this much only. If you will be getting any doubt, then please contact me, student. Thank you so much.